Seen right now in Sacramento, California, the host of one of the larger tax protests going on today, a modern-day Boston Tea Party. Now, that party, you might recall, was over taxation without representation. Republican Congressman McClintock says that's kind of the same deal what's going on here. A lot of the push by bigger government at the state, the local, indeed the federal level, does not represent most folks' views, even those who voted for Barack Obama. The congressman, bigger government gets. What happens?
The bigger government gets, the more it takes from working folks, and the more it takes from working folks, the worse the economy does. This is not complicated. If
the White House says it's not taking more from working folks. In fact, his plan is 95% of them will not see that.
On the contrary, his plan, after you count in those tax cuts, is about $1.4 trillion of additional taxes taken out of our economy over the next 10 years. Much of that through business taxes. Problem with business taxes? Businesses don't pay business taxes. Business taxes can only be paid by employees as lower wages, by consumers as higher prices, or by investors through lower earnings, what's on left of our 401ks. These folks understand that. Californians in particular, they've watched a succession of 3 governors vastly expand spending, vastly expand borrowing, and now they've been hit by the biggest tax increase by any state in American history. These folks are living that. We don't want to see that happen to the rest of the country.
You know, when you took on Governor Schwarzenegger, you were sort of like the less well-known, almost fringe candidate against the star. Now the star has faded. Does the fringe guy, as you've been called, move on,
the fun thing about that election, even though I didn't get the most votes, by the end of that campaign, according to every major poll, Gallup, Field, LA Times, I had the highest approval ratings because people were actually tuning in and listening to what each of the candidates were saying.
Well, even those who disagree with you, they argued you spoke your mind, you were consistent. Let me ask you then, are you interested in running for governor?
I made a promise to the people of my district that I'd seek re-election to represent the 4th Congressional District in 2010, and that's what I intend to do.
What if your district tells you we need you for bigger things?
A promise is a promise. I intend to stand by it.
Okay, let's talk about a promise from this legislature and this governor to keep these tax hikes to 3 years, and then they end.
Oh, that's ridiculous. This is a $13 billion a year tax increase that they're building spending on. Do you mean to tell me that 3 years from now they're going to say, oh, by the way, we just came up with $13 billion of cuts we're ready to make? If they've got those cuts ready to make them now and spare us the enormous crushing burden of the biggest tax increase by any state in American history. It's about $1,300 for every family in this state.
What would you do?
Reduce spending.
Yeah, but everyone talks about reducing spending.
Well,
right?
Look,
why can't that ever be done?
Because we don't have the political will to say no to the public employee unions that have run up spending. Here in this state, we pay $32,000 a year to house a prisoner. Florida does it for about $18,000. That'll give you some idea of how much money is wasted in this state.
All right. Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Congressman McClintock. All right, now, as I told you, these rallies were across the board, across the nation. And when, our Cody Willard chose to go to